Hi, my name is Matthew Mustando, and this is my report on how Catholics view corruption in today's society in terms of justice. I had the pleasure of interviewing two Seton Hall Prep teachers and getting their opinion on the topic. I'm here with Dr. J. It's February 25th, and I just have a few questions.
Sure.
So, how do you see corruption in modern society as it relates to the three aspects of Catholic justice?
So this is an ideal situation. It never really happens where everything's going smoothly. And where corruption comes in, I think, is when you look at this triangle not as a triangle but as a pyramid. And the whole point of the pyramid is to get smaller at the top, right? So there's more at the bottom. And people are always trying to get the top. And when we're at the top, you have the problem that power gives you, which is temptation. Okay, temptation to abuse your power. So the people in charge start paying less attention to the people down here and thinking more about how they can stay in charge. On the triangle, what happens down here is when you get corruption, you get people who can pay better lawyers, etc. They start going up the triangle here, and now suddenly you're not equal with that person, right? Now you're higher, and you get to abuse your powers and your privileges. On the circle, that doesn't happen. And the circle is kind of God's point of view, where everybody's equal. And that's, I think, what the prophets are talking about. So,
Alright, so I'm here with Mr. Ingraffia, and I'm going to interview him for our movie. So how do you believe modern corruption relates to the Catholic justice?
Modern corruption certainly contributes to an environment where there may not be justice. And, for me, a lot of times the littlest guy gets hurt, the people that are struggling, working hard for an everyday living. So if you take an example of Bernie Madoff, who stole billions from investors. A lot of these investors were just unsuspecting individuals with small investments. One thing I know I heard was a lot of individuals who had invested for their son or daughter's college future, their entire nest egg, their fund was gone, just completely gone. So obviously in an instance like that, there's a great level of immorality, not caring much about any other person, destroying lives or at least major opportunities in people's lives, and certainly there's no justice there at all. Catholic justice is often concentrated on the least fortunate, on those that are poor, in some ways those that are hungry. Modern corruption certainly targets people that are very similar, at times in their condition in life. Doesn't help bring about justice at all.
Thank you.
Hi, this is your host, Matthew Mustando, and I am back with more on this subject. With the 2016 presidential election underway, there is a lot of talk about corruption and its role in the race. I believe that this type of corruption is similar to the corruption that Amos preached about in Israel. Amos preached about the lack of justice being served in Israel and how both their government and court system were accepting briberies. In this presidential race, I think the topic of super PACs is related to what Amos was preaching. This example is highlighted by a potential ad against Hillary Clinton, shown here.
Hillary Clinton gave speeches to the biggest banks on Wall Street after one of the worst financial crises in American history. But Hillary won't tell us what she said to those banks, who paid her over $1 million and are contributing millions more to elect her. So before you promise your vote to Hillary, don't you deserve to know what she promised them? Future 45 is responsible for the content of this advertising.
Hillary Clinton received at least $1.8 million to give paid speeches to banking firms and other corporations on Wall Street. The ad's main focus is telling voters to think before they vote for Clinton because of what she's promising those banks she gave the speeches to. This is directly related to what Amos said, quoting, "Because they hand over the just for silver and the poor for a pair of sandals," end quote. Hillary Clinton is handing over the justice of those who are taken advantage of by banks so she can gain millions donated to her campaign. Modern corruption takes advantage of those susceptible to greed and allows its individuals to increase their power and wealth at the expense of others, which creates a huge injustice to the cumulative part of Catholic justice. A second example of modern corruption is in the FIFA crisis. FIFA is currently being investigated on official charges of corruption. Multiple high-ranking FIFA officials were taking bribes to vote in favor of South Africa as the location of the 2010 World Cup. The FBI was able to recover this document shown here, showing that multiple transactions were made to these members. The members claimed that these transactions were going to be used to fund a diaspora legacy program in the Caribbean to promote football there. This type of corruption is voiding what is known as distributive justice. The FIFA officials have an obligation to treat all the potential World Cup locations equally, but when they take bribes, they are undermining the justice and they are valuing money over fair distribution. Thank you, and that is my report on how modern corruption is viewed today in the eyes of Catholics.